Hello. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to read mouse coordinates and use those values in your application. This is the finished product of what you'll be learning how to program within this video lesson. You'll be creating a document that reads mouse movement. So you're reading the X plane, which is the horizontal plane, and you're also reading the Y plane. So you can see as I get closer to the top left corner, it starts to near 0. You see the numbers? They'll both near 0 as I get to the top, but as I move this way horizontally, the X-plane number rises and falls. As I move down the page this way with my mouse, you can see that second number getting higher and lower. Right? That's the first number is your X-plane and the second number is your Y-plane. We're going to begin with a bare bones HTML5 web document, and in the body element, you can see I have the body element ready to go and my head element is in place, and it already has a script element within it, and I can put my JavaScript right there. Okay, so in the body, I'm going to type in this sentence, and then I'm going to wrap that in H1 element. And then under that, I'm going to just put in 0, and then one line down, another 0. I'm going to highlight that 0 and press Control 2. If you're in Dreamweaver, you can press Control 2, and that'll just wrap it in the heading for you. Okay? Now, this first H2 element on the page, let's give that an ID of X result. X underscore result. Let's just copy that ID and put in the next H2 element the ID of Y result. Now what's going to happen on the page is in this H2 element with an ID of X result, this number is going to change to show us the X coordinates of where the user's mouse is as they're moving it around the screen. The same thing for this H2 element, but this will show the Y coordinates of where the user's mouse is as they move it around the screen. And we'll be using these ID values to communicate to these elements using JavaScript. And that's all the HTML that we're going to require for this basic example. Now let's work on the JavaScript. And if you want in your script element, you can put in the type attribute that is text JavaScript, or you can leave it out. I don't think it's necessary in HTML5 documents, but if you put it in, it's not an error or anything. It works both ways. Now the first line of JavaScript is we want to access the document object and target its onMouseMove event handler, and we're going to make that fire off a function every time the mouse moves anywhere in the document. We're going to make it fire off the function called readMouseMove, semicolon. So all we need now above this line is a function called readMouseMove. So let's copy that, type in the word function, paste in readMouseMove, open close parentheses, put the opening curly brace, and go down a couple of lines and put the closing curly brace. And there's your function nest all set up. Now when the document onMouseMove event fires off, we want to pass the event itself through the function as an argument. So you can just put E, and this E refers to the event of mouse move on the document. The first thing I'm going to do is create a variable that is for the result X on the page, and I know I'm putting the underscore on the other side because I don't want it to have the same exact name. You could make it have the same exact name. Just put X result right there. Then you say document.getElement by ID. Then we'll put the ID in between single quotes there. And the ID is X result. And you don't have to name it X result. You can name it result X. So this is just a reference for this element here, result X. So let's do the same thing and let's get result Y as a variable reference for the Y result element on the page down here. Now all we have to do is adjust the inner HTML properties to read what the mouse coordinates are. So let's take this one, let's do X first. Let's say result X.innerHTML is equal to E, which is this event that we are referencing from the onMouseMove of the document, E.clientX, semicolon. And now you can just highlight that line and do the same thing for the Y plane, or the Y position, .client uppercase Y. Now let's take a look at what we have, and I've tested this in Firefox, Internet Explorer, Chrome, Safari, Opera, and all the major modern browsers. In older browsers, we used to have to do some workarounds and put in some if conditions to make sure that certain event properties will be accessible to us. But now every browser has this event property accessible to it, so you don't have to do many workarounds for this in all modern browsers now, okay? Alright, so let's take a look at this. Let's publish it. Just view it in your favorite browser software, and you'll see that as you move your mouse around, this little H1 or H2 and this H2, the first one's reading the X coordinates and the second number is the Y coordinates. So the X is the horizontal plane this way. So you can see how the numbers are growing when I move my mouse this way on the X plane. Now watch when I move this way, the other number is getting smaller and larger as I go up and down. If I go to the corner, it's going to be 0, 0 eventually. See? And that's how it all works. And you can animate things according to these numbers that are moving right along there. Okay, so now the last thing I want to mention to you guys is that it doesn't have to actually be the whole document that you put on mouse move. Or if you wanted to have just a div or a box, some element on the page that you want to put the on mouse move event handler on, you can do that. It doesn't have to be on the whole document. It could be on a div, like div1 dot on mouse move equals read mouse move, and it would do the same thing essentially, but just over that one div. Okay? And I can also show you guys, if you want, how to take this application and use it to make a little button or some kind of object, an image or whatever you want, follow the mouse around the page. Alright.